Okay, so college football has a modified format. It's going to be 5+7. Um, Essentially, the top five ranked conference champions get automatic bids, and then the remaining seven bids go to the next highest ranked seven teams. The ranking is important because the top four ranked teams get first round byes. There's going to be 3 rounds in total. First round is a quarterfinals round, so that's 8 teams playing, 4 games, and then 4 teams resting. The second round is the semifinals, in which there are 4 teams competing in 2 games. And the third round is the final, in which there are 2 teams competing, of course. Um, the quarterfinals and semifinals rounds, those first 6 games, will be played at the New Year's Day 6 bowl games. So that's like the Rose Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, and so on. The matchups make sense. In the quarterfinals round, it will be number 5 against number 12, number 6 against number 11, and so on. The higher ranked team will be the home team, but in theory, based on where their campus is located and where their opponent's campus is located, their opponent might actually be the home team in practice in terms of proximity. So the two important things to note in the official press release is just the wording. They're very explicit in that no conference is guaranteed a bid. And the second important thing is that there's no limit to the number of teams from the same conference. So that's interesting. Like, I had assumed that the Power 5 conferences would automatically send their respective champions, but that's not the case. As I understand, that change has been implemented to accommodate the Pac-12 that currently only has 2 teams. So that makes sense. It also opens the door for a conference champion from a smaller conference to be among that top 5. Now, regarding the second point, the no limitation on the number of teams from the same conference, that's interesting. I think that opens the door for the SEC to have maybe 4, 5, or even 6 teams in the football playoff. Yeah, so it makes sense. Haven't read or seen too many commentary pieces, and I don't think there would be a lot of objection to that. The only thing that I can imagine is maybe the committee being a little too obvious in ranking teams to facilitate or maximize TV viewership. You could argue that happens anyway, but they might go out of their way to rank teams lower or higher than they should be just to pit teams in the later rounds or earlier rounds, for example. But I don't think that will be an issue too much, because just looking at the distribution of schools among the managing board, they're all presidents of different conferences, of schools in different conferences. And aside from Notre Dame and to some extent Clemson and Penn State, none of the represented schools are football factories. So that's interesting to me, just going through that. Yeah, looks good, makes sense. I can't imagine it being a huge undertaking for the development team of College Football 25. As far as I can tell, it would be a fairly simple programming modification that they'd have to do. For all we know, they might have known beforehand about this news. The College Football Committee might have tipped off EA Sports about something like this happening in the near future. And if you look at the timing of the teaser release and the timing of this news release, it kind of makes sense. It kind of matches up. But in any case, I am looking forward to this implementation, this 5+7 format in real life and in video game form.